What's up, my friends? You might remember the chicken coop that we built just a few weeks ago that we proudly dubbed Casa de Pollo. But our chicks hatched about 6 weeks ago and they're about done in their brooder box and they need a place to go. So we've got the chicken coop ready, but we need to build a run, a place where they can run around protected from my dogs, from predators, from all sorts of things. So we're going to be using some materials that I got secondhand and acquired myself because I've got more sweat to spend than dollar bills. So you see these 4x4 posts behind me? These are ones that I harvested from our family property and milled myself. And then I've got some extra fencing from a garden that I had ripped out. So we're gonna be putting both those materials together to build this chicken run. Now, something that I'm worried about are these fence posts rotting out of the ground too soon. Since they're ponderosa pine and untreated, they don't have the protection against the elements that pressure treated wood does. But I've got a few tricks up my sleeve to help protect these and make them last. So stay tuned to see how we keep these fence posts from rotting. Now, this is the space I had in mind for the chicken run. It's 4 foot by 30 foot, so 120 square feet for these chickens. Now we've marked where our posts are gonna go in, so we know how many we need. But now we need to get these things protected. Let me show you how. It's a lot of fun. Now we're going to be using an old Japanese technique called yakisugi, where we start by charring the outside of the wood until we got a nice burned exterior. And something else that this weed burner is great at doing is burning weeds off of this old fencing material. Now it's going to be cleaned up and it can live a new life as a chicken fence. Next, we're going to use a steel brush to remove any excess charring from the outside of these posts. And use boiled linseed oil to help seal the outside, protect it from any outside moisture, and keep bugs out of it. Now, burning the post is always fun, but my favorite part's gotta be spreading the linseed oil. It is beautiful the way that it shows the grain and gives this wet look to the post, but we can't get too attached because these are the ends that are going in the ground. So when all's said and done, we're not even gonna see this. Now, something I forgot to consider is my Swiss Shepherd's almost 3 foot tall, just sitting there, so I'm gonna need some taller fence, and this 4-foot fencing is $120, so $120 over budget, but gotta keep these chickens safe. This 4-foot's gonna do much better, so let's get these posts cut to the right height. Now I'm digging a small trench here where the wire fencing is going to go down into the ground. Then I can pin it down below ground level. But as I was digging this trench, I found this landscape fabric from a previous tenant that was living here before me. And it is a huge chunk that is going to keep me from being able to dig this fence line, and it's just going to create problems. So I decided I better rip it out, but man was it a bear. Ended up ripping up a ton of sod, exhausting myself in the meantime. Now to seal the top of these posts, we're going to use this product from Valhalla Wood Preservatives called Lifetime Wood Treatment. And it comes in a little bag like this. This is just a tiny bit that I have from a prior project, but that little bag makes a gallon of mix. And here I'm brushing it on, making sure it gets down into that rough wood fiber. Since it's rough milled wood, it's not real smooth and it doesn't take too kindly to stains or liquids being put on it. But within just half an hour, you see that graying appearing, and it'll just continue to intensify over time. And you can also spray it on. You see on this side where I have the fencing, it wasn't really adhering to the post with the brush, but you can put it in a squirt bottle and put it on that way. Now, to tighten this fence, you see I use this diagonal board here to put some leverage on this outer post to get it nice and tight. Now onto the gate. Now these posts aren't completely straight up and down. It's not a completely square gate that we got here, so measured the tops and bottoms and the height and roughed out this shape. Now I left an extra 1/2 inch of board on the bottom because I'm going to try to figure out exactly how I want this gate to sit. It's not quite 90-degree angles at each of these corners, so it's able to sit off of that bottom threshold a 1/2 inch because I left that extra material. So now as I get this to just the right position, I can put these additional screws in to get those corner angles to hold true and give myself just enough space on this latch side of the gate for this gate to be able to close smoothly. Now that I've got the square of our gate to work with, I'm going to cut out our cross brace. Now you always have to have a cross brace unless you want your gate to sag, which nobody does. So I'm just going to draw the angles on these. Not the most precise method, but good enough for a chicken gate. And fits like a glove. Now I'm gonna add these other supports on the side, sister these other vertical supports on the gate, because that's going to help hold in the wire fencing that you're going to see here in just a minute, as well as helping to keep the fence from sagging. Now to get this wire where I want it, I gotta cut out the corner so I can fit it below this top and bottom rail. Now that I've got the wire fence in place, I'll get it nailed in. And in order to get it nice and tight, I use this Irwin quick grip that I use for gluing wood together to help pull that fence nice and tight, so it's tight as a fiddle. And to keep this extra snug, we're going to put more wire fence nails in the top and bottom. Now we'll put those side supports back on, sandwiching that fence material between the two pieces of wood. Get that cross brace in and put the other vertical support in, pushing nice and snug against that, so I know that that cross brace is making good contact on both sides. Now, let's see if it fits. Would you look at that? Beautiful. And I still had some more Predator wire to put around the bottom of my chicken coop. And I had put this off for a while because going around this feeder and the watering support, it looked like a pain. So finally got around to it, got it all cut out and stapled into place. And ninja roll out. You might remember from the last video I made this back piece separate so I'd be able to remove it in case I ever need to maintain that water system. In getting the last top plate put on, I really wanted this fence to have a top plate, so when we go out to check out the chickens, we have something to put our arms on, set a drink on, whatever we need. Overdid it a little bit with 2x8s, but it's worth it. But I really like the aesthetic of the wider board.
Now it's time to try the feeder for the first time. I think I built the trough of it at just the right angle, that when I fill it up with the chicken feed, it's not going to come pouring out the bottom. But let's see how I did.
That's good. That's good.
What do you mean?
Oh, I guess it's a top loader, huh? Yeah, it's not spilling out.
Is it where the chickens can reach it though?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, we got the fence all done, got the top plate on, all the wood is treated so you see it graying beautifully, and got it tied in to the chicken coop. So now they got this big run area, 120 square feet of real estate to play around in. Throw our scraps here in the end, it's gonna be perfect. How's your cage?
That's not my cage.
Yeah, it's your cage. Let me see you get out. Pretty good cage then.
I'm for the chicken cage.
Oh, is it?